Quadratic functions with tables. So evaluating a quadratic function that's in a table. So you're going to be given a function and it's going to have something raised to a power, and then you're going to have to plug in the numbers that are given to you, which are typically your x values, then you'll output your y values. Sometimes different letters are used instead of x, and like in this first example, it's r. So the function of r. Then that's going to be your y values, because we know that the function of something is going to be what happened to the x value to generate that y value. So all that's going to take place is just like evaluating any other function. We're going to substitute x values in, or the values specified, and then we're going to evaluate, which means we're going to simplify everything that we've substituted for and find out what the output is. So, these can be done in your head. We could do 1 times 1, that'd be 1 squared. So we know that the function of h is going to be whatever h squared is. So we can take all these h values and square them and get 1, 4, 9, and 16. And just to reiterate, I do believe that it is a good idea to get used to writing notation for functions in the way that it should be written. So then we can have 1. Then function of 2 equals 2 squared, and we get 4. That process will repeat itself, and then hopefully you'd start seeing a pattern. Moving on to the second one, same exact thing, except we can see that it's the function of c instead of the function of x. We know that the function of something is going to be the y value, our output, and we know that c, whatever the function of, is going to be our input. So all of our c's are our x values, going to be our input. Just to go through the process, we're going to go function of -3 equals -3 squared minus 7. Notice that whenever I'm substituting a number in for the variable, I'm putting parentheses about where that variable was, and then I'm putting that number inside of it. So that way I know exactly what's happening with the number that I'm using. Right now it's going to be -3 to the second power. So that's going to be -3 times -3, give you +9 minus 7, which is 2. Cool. Function of -1 equals -1 squared minus 7. -1 times -1 is 1. Minus 7 give you -6. So just to go through this, just mentally instead of writing it. Well, 1 squared is 1, minus 7 is -6. 3 squared is 9, minus 7 is 2. So the function of g, you can see here are the g values listed, which are normally our x values. The function of x equals -x squared, and all it's just using is a different variable. So function of -2 equals negative, and this is a good reason as to why I use the parentheses and substitute numbers inside the parentheses. -2 squared. So really what we're looking at here is -1 times -2 to the second power. -2 times -2, +4. So that negative is going to be next to that +4. What's really happening is it's a -1 being multiplied by -2 to the second. So that's what's taking it and making it its opposite value. So we've got -4. We can keep on repeating the process, and this process is not going to change. This is the way you should evaluate functions. So I'm going to have a negative, and then I'm going to put -1 inside. Okay, -1 times -1, +1. Negative times +1 give you -1.